Jason. Jason's a good friend of mine, known Jason quite a while. He's a pretty rad guy. He knows a thing or two about real estate and agents and mindset and all those different things. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Jason, and kind of give us a rundown on who you are and what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that, Joe, and the feeling is mutual, certainly. Anytime I am interacting with friends in the business, it makes my job great that we get to work with people that we know and love and like working with. So I've been in real estate officially now 25. I just entered my 26th year. I started, at 12 years old, right? And I've been a broker probably about 15, 16 years. My early part in the career, I was working with first-time home buyers, FHA, low down payment, government assistance. In that market, that was the previous downturn of the 90s in California, lots and lots and lots of foreclosures. And so that was my specialty. I was married at the time, and my wife and I just picked that up. She did HUD homes, I did VA homes. I was the lender, she was the salesperson. At the top of our game, we sold over 100 homes a couple of years in a row, and we were doing pretty good. And then, of course, the market changed, and we were forced to change. We were used to the down market.
Sure.
And then we had to go into, regular sales, if you will. And so the early part of my career was doing exactly that, like what most of our people do, which is selling.
Right.
And then I transitioned over into leadership and management in 2002, 3 or 4, somewhere around there. And I began to manage a small Coldwell Banker office that had about 20, 25 agents at the time. The best thing that owner did for me is part of my salary was he put me in to work with a coach. And that was a gift and a blessing. I didn't realize it at the time. And that coach was able to help mold me, help see me, have me see a vision larger than what I saw for myself at the time. And so now fast forward from that point here, coincidentally, that coach and I are now work together. He is a part of MAPS coaching at Keller Williams, and he is one of the owners of one of the market centers that I'm the broker for. So, our real estate life has had this cool way of coming full circle. And so like with you, right, relationships that we value have continued through the years. And so I coach agents, I broker agents, I run a real estate school. I've got some other businesses and investments that I work. And we look to help and bring value to real estate agents to have them through what I've done and then what we've seen other agents do through coaching, help them move along and get that that learning curve for them faster.
That's awesome. So, for you, you've been a bold coach, and you're one of the first bold coaches, I believe, that was involved in that program.
Early on. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then, so we're very fortunate here. We have you, and then we have Bill Pipes next week. So we're just, we're loading up on talent here. So with all of the agents that you're currently coaching right now, what would you say is the number one pressing thing that's happening in their world right now?
Yeah, a lot of agents right now are suffering through cash flow issues. They've had a couple of bad months that now they can excuse to something other than their personal lead generation and their schedule. And so just to be completely honest and brutal with transparency, that's a challenge right now, right? So some of the agents that I work with that are earlier in their career, they're looking to work some of those things out through credit lines or what have you, and that's a conversation. Some of the other agents that are more advanced, their conversations has been, changing the way they do business, the way they prospect, the way they meet with clients. They've been forced to change their schedule. Some of my clients are single parents, and so they now they have this additional a teacher assignment, if you will, to be with their kids at home and also school them. So I think those twofold for depending on the agent, right? The younger in their career agents, there's a cash flow thing they're working through, and the other agents that are more advanced, it's really a time management issue that they're working through.
That's awesome. So what are some of the strategies that you're helping your agents with right now, as far as the lead generation and the time blocking goes?
Well, I have this business concept that says whenever the business adjusts, let's say down in sales, we need to find what that percentage is, and we need to up the marketing or lead generation. Most agents don't have money for marketing, but either one is fine. We need to up the marketing and or lead generation to equal at the very least what we've dropped in sales. What do I mean by that? If we've dropped 50% in sales over the last 2 months, we need to raise our lead generation efforts to 150%. What we were doing plus the 50 at a minimum, no holds barred. And when you, I think, Joe, that when you calculate numbers and calculate time, it helps the agent, the business owner, because not all of the people that I coach are real estate agents. It helps the business owner really, really focus on what needs to get done.
Right.
Right now, you got 40 hours in a week if you're going to work all 40, right? I get agents that say, oh, I work 60 hours a week. No, bro. No, let's look at it, because what I consider work, you don't really do 60 hours nor 40 hours to that, right? You're servicing a lot.
Sure.
Okay. But whatever that is, that's me and my dry sarcasm interjecting as well to agents. But whatever that is, they've now, many of them have more things they need to do in that 40 or that 60 hours. Mm-hmm. So when we calculate, spell it out, bullet point it out, and then assign it to the time it needs to get done, I think it helps the person be more focused.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the other, like Carl Batiste, he said I was talking to him, and he said, if you don't have a full pipeline or anything in escrow, you have nothing else to do with your time other than to fill your pipeline and get escrows.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the number one priority. People are scrambling around trying to figure out what they're going to do, when it's really actually pretty easy. Get on the phone, start lead generating, and fill up your pipeline, because there is huge opportunity on the other side of this. And if you get into that business habit of working hard and lead generating and building that habit, it's going to only benefit you going through into the long haul.
Agreed with you and with what Carl said. I mean, if there's no business, what else are you going to do?
Right. 100%.
Right.
100%. So what's happening? I know that you're down in Southern California. What's that market look like right now?
Southern California is very diverse. We've got some parts of the area that are probably similar to what the Midwest looks like, not city, lower price homes. Yes, in Southern California, we do have some lower priced homes. So what I mean by lower price is probably $350,000, give or take. People that buy with government loans, low down payment, and they don't have a lot of leeway. That market is a different market to the upper end market, which is $950,000 and above.
Sure.
So
is that like San Bernardino?
Yeah, San Bernardino County. That's right. The Inland Empire, about 100 miles east of Los Angeles.
Right.
And our brokerages service from pretty much where the water is all the way into the desert. So that whole going into. So I get to witness homes that are sitting on the market. Some of the higher priced homes have been sitting on the market since March. Okay. People that have not adjusted their mindset around what's going on. And then, of course, I get to witness the other side of it, homes that if you didn't know that there's been a quarantine in place, the numbers wouldn't tell you, because anything we list for 350 still sells in 5 minutes
Sure.
with multiple offers above asking price and sometimes no appraisal contingency.
Yeah. And so
So
what do you think that
diverse.
downward trend is on that, on the higher end pricing?
Yeah, I think it's hard to tell. It's early to tell. I think there's going to be a little bit of correction. You got to remember that a lot of those people up there don't necessarily buy with financing, right? They're people of means. There's people that have another way of paying for the home than the entry level folks. And so I think some of them are cautious. They're watching. They're like a fan at an NBA game on the sidelines watching the game.
What's that
And
like?
yeah, I don't know. Not recently. I don't know. But I think there's a little bit of that. Now, what will happen when the switch comes back on and we're allowed to, if you will, come back to work and, the buzzword, the new normal. I think you are going to still see a lot of consumer confidence. I do think interest rates being so low still protect the house investment, if you will. So that's why I say it's early to tell. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, because I mean, in Utah, in the Salt Lake Valley, we have a lot of different things. Like we can go to the 300,000 all the way up to, Park City and along the bench here
Mm.
on the mountainside. So there's a lot of different homes and different things. We've been actually very fortunate. What I saw was when this hit, it was like, okay, are we all going to die? What's going to happen? Okay, to going into April, where people were starting to get their heads kind of around what this whole thing was about and what it
Right.
was looking like. And then into May, where here we're kind of opening up everything. So it's really starting. I mean, what we're having is we're having an inventory problem like you're having in San Bernardino, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Right.
where's that balance happening? So we're actually seeing more listings going on the market now than are going pending, which is a good sign for us. So we have some
Right.
inventory to sell,
Right.
but we'll see
Right.
on the back end because who knows what's going to happen, right?
Well, and I think you guys get a benefit, perhaps more so than we do, because you guys in Utah get some influx of, out of staters, if you will. I'm gonna guess a percentage of those come from California,
Yeah.
which is a plus for you guys. Someone out here that's cashed out $200,000-300,000 worth of equity, they're gonna take it somewhere else relatively close
Mm-hmm.
that they could live with a little bit more elbow room. And I think Salt Lake City and that area is a part of where that takes place. So I think that's a bump. That's a plus for you guys for sure.
Yeah, well, they said that 2 out of 10 buyers right now are coming from out of state.
Mm.
So if
Yeah,
all of a sudden that gets bumped to 3.5, 4 people out of 10,
not
that
bad for you
will have
guys,
a really good effect on our economy
for
here.
sure, for sure.
So, I mean, and if you know of anybody that wants to move to Utah, you know who to call.
You're my guy. That's right. And I know you've got people in the areas you
I
don't
got
service,
people,
for
man.
sure,
I got
for
people.
sure.
So, Abe, when I titled this thing "Think Big, Aim High, Act Bold, and Live
Yeah,
Large," because I
yeah.
really believe that that's you in a nutshell. Okay, I
I
mean,
appreciate that.
I really do. And so, if I were to say to you, what does thinking big look like to Jason? What would that look like to you?
Well, it's interesting that, I am right now looking to, for example, purchase in businesses that are not inside of real estate. So I'm in the process right now. I'm negotiating on 2 laundromats. And this is something similar to a business I've been involved with for many years, dry cleaning business. And yet laundromat is a little bit different. The profit margin for it could be a little bit greater,
Mhm.
and it requires more time. Right now, the reason I'm doing it is not only to diversify, yet because I can, right? Because I'm not stagnant, because ships weren't built to be stuck in the harbor,
Right.
right? And so I'm looking for ways to further challenge myself, not be complacent. And just as you're catching me, what is something I'm working on? It is that.
Mm.
It came to me because one of my agents has been listing some of them, and there's the curiosity between the dry cleaning and the laundromat. And so I was asking her around, and the owners of some of these places are making pretty good money relative to the amount of effort that they're putting out. So I'm always looking to grow, and obviously there's a financial aspect to that. And yet it's also, how far can I take it?
Right.
Right. And so that's the financial piece. If, on an educational piece and coaching, I'm working on a doctoral degree from the uh, uh, California Southern here in Costa Mesa, California. I'm 2 years into a 6-year program. And that's another thing that I get asked about a lot, right? Well, Jason, you're about to be 45 years old. Why work on a doctoral degree? You sell real estate. I sell people, right? I work on concepts, and anything that I could do to further educate myself when I'm only 45% of my life through, I plan to live to be 100. Why not?
Right.
Right. So thinking big for me is continually looking and pushing beyond, and whatever it is that you as a person have as a goal, if you could think the goal, you can do it.
Right.
If you couldn't, you wouldn't be able to think it. It'd be too big for you.
Yeah.
So if you could think the goal, you can do it.
I forgot who you said. He said, but if you can think it, you can hold it in your hand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same concept, right? Then that means it can become yours.
Right.
Right.
100%. And I mean, I've known you for a while, and you're always thinking big and thinking into the future and having that infinite game in mind. And I really respect that about you quite a bit. So if I was going to go aim high.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of the real estate agents, right? They're aiming high, higher than your goals, higher than what you think, higher than what your current mindset allows you to believe you're capable of. A lot of agents don't get to, many agents, I should say, don't get to experience this because they really don't push themselves. And some people haven't pushed themselves, haven't been pushed since they've been in school, right? Since they were kids. Because when we lived with our folks or whoever raised us and we were in school, we had this thing called accountability. Right. And we had a whole series of accountabilities. We lived in a system that held us accountable. When we woke up, right? When we showed up, what we showed up with, what happened if we didn't show up with it, what happened the next day. There was a system of competition. There was a system of reward. There was some type of system of both education and physical activity. There was friends, and I understand that it's not necessarily the ideal construct for every single kid, yet let's talk in the majority. For many, that's the last time that they were held to account.
Right.
And then they left the home and they left the school, and maybe with their job, there was some accountability, but some realtors have been accountable to themselves for a period of time. And the challenge with that is that they don't make very good bosses. They don't hold themselves accountable. I venture to say that many, if not most, real estate agents would be a lot harder on employees if they had them than they are on themselves. The expectation for an employee would be, well, you're going to do this, you're going to do it here, you're going to do it the way I say, you're going to do it from this to this, here's when you're going to take a break. They'd be bosses.
Right.
And yet they're not that way with themselves. And many times they have this mindset around, well, that's not why I got into real estate.
Right.
And that's I think a foolish mindset, because it's the discipline that will actually give you what it is that you got into real estate for, which for many people, it's a freedom, right? It's a freedom of time, and it's a freedom of being able to do what you want when you do it. Well, guys, let's face it, that takes money. That takes money, right? Being able to pick up and do what you want when you want takes money.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to gain that, especially in real estate, we need to work from a schedule which requires discipline and accountability.
Yeah,
so I think that's one big thing that the people in our industry need.
I mean, I coach a lot of agents, and one of the first things I do is I go right back to their, let's talk about your morning and what happens in the morning, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
It's amazing how many agents I cannot get to just wake up at a certain time consistently. Okay. And if you can't, and I love this, like if you can't get the little things right, you're never going to get the big things right. Yeah. And it's that I really believe that discipline that you talked about is really the missing link to success, is being able to be super disciplined in those little things and then just continually build on those so that you can aim high.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me touch on something real quick that you just reminded me as you said that. And that's to be a person of confidence, right? If you're in the audience watching this, if it's on recording or whatever you see this, here's a nugget for you. You need to be able to trust yourself. You need to build trust with yourself. How do you do that? Right? A lot of people, they claim to be people of trust. They claim to be someone that can be confided in. But when it comes to their core, they're not in alignment. Let me give you an example. Joe, if I made an appointment with you for this afternoon at 3:00, you put it in your calendar, you did not accept any other appointments because you were expecting me, and then I didn't show up, and I didn't call you, and then you texted me and I didn't reply. Automatically, how's that going to make you feel?
Let their time's more valuable than mine.
And so let's say I finally get back with you tomorrow at 9:00. I say, hey man, I'm so sorry. Yesterday, something got in the way. Let's do today at 3:00. Can you do that? You give me a second chance. And then at 3:00, I do the same thing. Right. Now what happened to the trust between you and I? See, you already know where I'm going with this, right? In order to trust, you have to do what you say you're going to do. You don't only say it, you do it. That's how you trust others. And guess what, you guys? That's how you trust yourself. That's where you build confidence, right? Like Joe has confidence in me the way I have in him, because I can call him and I can say, Joe, let's chat. And I know, I trust, I am confident that Joe will keep to his word. Some of us need to, learn, reprogram, exercise the keeping true and building trust to who we are.
Right.
And there's magic in that, Joe.
So true. I mean, that Matthew McConaughey video that I love is when he says an honest man's pillow is his own peace of mind. And no matter who you go to sleep with at night, we all sleep alone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You live with yourself all day long. My coaching clients, I get to talk to them once a week. They talk to themselves all day, every day.
Right. Yep.
I mean, how are you going to feel if you're talking to a person and you don't even trust that person? You write down notes in the class and you already tell yourself, well, you're not going to do that. Well, that's not for you. Well, you're not going to wake up at 6 a.m. You're not a 6 a.m. person. All of that stuff.
And we're all guilty of it.
We absolutely. That's not an us, not and them. Do it. That we're all a part of that. That's part of the human condition. By the way, it gets harder the higher up you get. Because the higher up you get, the easier it is to be complacent.
Oh yeah, and the more people that are watching you.
Right, right, exactly. There's more. There's a built-in accountability when you have a certain amount of success, because there are people that are relying on you, right? And yet, for some reason, for whatever it is in our industry, some people shy away from that, and that's why I say, be open to it. Be open to creating some form of accountability, working with a coach, working with somebody, putting yourself in an environment that will force you to do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah, and this is not a real estate thing. This is
really not. Nope, it's really not. Right.
Yeah,
it's really not.
I mean,
mindset is really not a real estate thing.
Not at all. I mean, for me being a team leader, for you being a coach, and being a dad, being whoever you are, whatever you are, it's all about, and believe me, I struggle, man. One of the things for me is daily exercise. I have a rough time with it, right? I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, I can do everything else pretty good at a pretty high level, but we all, and I want everybody to really realize this, because I know Jason also, we all have certain things within our world that we struggle on. And one of the things is, like Jason said, identify that thing. And I know who I have. I have my stepson who's a stud. And all I have to do is say to him, Lauren, you need to make sure that I'm doing these things and hold me accountable. But yet I haven't given him the permission to put me in that position to what I know will solve my problem. I mean, it's just,
Well, now your agents are watching you, so now they're going to start asking you about it. So good job
Oh,
putting yourself out there.
they already know. We have this conversation all the time. Okay, so of all the people I'm going to ask about acting bold, what does that mean to you? Being the big time bold coach that you were, let's
Yeah.
hear that.
Yeah, being bold to me is going beyond your comfort zone, not being afraid to be the person that you want to be, that you're looking forward to be, the person that you look. Let's face it. Um, we're a work in progress, right? We're not rocks. We're not sedentary. We're not um, something that is not changing. It, look, the cells on my body replace themselves. I'm a creature that is dynamic. I was built and created this way. I am ever changing. To keep your mindset the same, stuck the way it's been since 1979, goes against everything whether you know this or not. It goes against the laws of the universe. And so for me, being bold is being open to that change and allowing the change to take place in the best possible way for you. Living your life, as they say, by design. What it is that you want to accomplish during your stay, during your 100 years here. What would you like to see happen? Because for the most part, you can.
Yeah.
For the most part, you can. And I say for the most part, because there are some things that many of us will not be able to do, right? You might not dunk a basketball over Shaquille O'Neal in the NBA anytime soon. So I'm also not a fairy tale kind of guy that says, well, for the most part. But for the most part, many people don't even stretch themselves even beyond where they are. They get comfortable. They get
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
And being bold is embracing that ability that you have within, that I believe is God-given, to continue your growth path at whatever stage you are in your life.
Yeah. I
That's
think
to me what's being bold.
yeah, that Les Brown said, he goes, God did all the hard work. Now the rest is up to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Going back to that example of, ships aren't built to be stuck in the harbor. I mean, you have all these bells and whistles, right? You have all this intelligence, all this capacity, all of this God-given gift of being. To not exercise those, to see how far we could take them, I think you cut yourself short when you do that. So that to me is an example of being bold, is going for it, going out there and going for it, setting a goal. Again, if you could think of the goal, you can do it. Setting a goal and going for it. That's
Right.
being bold.
What's the difference between being bold and cocky?
Yeah, there's like a teeter-totter there, right? There's a teeter-totter in, I think, almost an arrogance that sometimes shows up in individuals that feel this sense of no longer learning, no longer capable of grasping something from the outside. I consider myself a very confident person. I embrace confidence, which I think has to do with trust. Cocky, on the other side of that, it actually implies some fear, because if you're really confident, what's there to be cocky about? Cockiness is somehow me needing to show others that I'm something. What purpose do I have to show? I already know.
Yeah, that's
Right.
great.
And so,
I love that.
yeah,
So if you're for you, living large, what does living large look like to Jason?
well, going back to some of the things that I was mentioning earlier, about, working on some business items, they really have to do with continually planning for the future, right? I have this vision where I will always work. You're going to see me 92, 93 years old, doing some type of coaching or teaching or training. I'd love to be a university professor where I could actually do this in front of groups of people, and I'm teaching other subjects other than real estate related. For example, history, which I really, really love, and I'm working towards those things. So I realize, however, that takes planning, right? There's the short-term plan, there's the short game, and there's the long game. And all of that planning for this life for me by design, that also includes leaving a legacy, if you will, for my kids and my kids' kids, continues to be my fuel. That continues to be, if I use a Keller Williams cliche word, that's my why. That wakes me up in the morning. I don't question why I do what I do. I already know. And through the years, that list of things becomes you. Let me add to that. The purpose of business is to fund the perfect life, right? And so that means that the purpose of business is to pay for things. Right. If that bold law is true, and right, Diana, when she collected these sayings, she looked at them and she thought that was a good one, let's put it in here. The purpose of business is to fund the perfect life. That's why we do business. And I have loads of clarity on that for my own personal business.
And you spent a lot of time around Diana. What was the one thing you learned from her that you carry with you throughout your life?
Yeah, Diana's a dynamo, man. She's like, 95 pounds of firecracker, and working as a bold coach. And, back then, and not that it's necessarily better or worse now, the program has evolved, right? The program's been around now for more than a decade, and there's loads and loads of bold coach, and it's very almost university-like, right? And back then it was a little more raw, right? Where we were still working on some context. We were changing things, and back when I started, we were 8 weeks long. Bold was an 8-week program. It was launched 4 times a year per quarter. And then that was changed, right, to 7-week program, 5 times a week. And there was growth in that. And so working with Diana, I really saw passion at 75 years old that I could say was probably, without question, the biggest passion in the room of some pretty high performing guys and gals, right? You guys will meet Bill Pipes next, right? Longtime friend and colleague. And, Diana was passionate. Diana was passionate around her belief around this program, around her legacy, around doing it the right way, which was her vision. And I respect that.
There were some big people in that room.
Yeah, absolutely. She was not intimidated. She would not back down. She was not cocky. She knew what she wanted of the program, how she visioned it, where she thought it could go. Now, I think it's, dare I speak for her, even exceeded her expectations. And yet getting to watch that early on and work directly with her, it's respect to see that a person that again, going back to complacency, one could argue didn't need it. One could argue, if we're going to talk from a financial perspective, right? If we're going to think small and think only what you need, right? Well, I don't need this. Anytime I hear an agent says that, all right, small thinker, right? We're not talking about what you need. We're talking about what you're capable of, right? Those are two totally different things. Mm-hmm. If we weren't built to only satisfy what we need. It's a mindset thing.
Right.
Okay.
Totally.
So anyway, to see that a person was, again, perhaps if you think only what you need, well, there was no need for her to do this. This was a desire. This was something from within, built within. This was something years in the making, that the opportunity came at the right time. The stars aligned, and she was 75 years old when this took place for her. And to see that passion behind it, I both respect that and admire that.
That's amazing. Yeah. And then, so I'm going to shift gears a little bit.
Yeah.
what do you think is more important? Okay. Um, People or systems and models?
What do you mean by people? Like the right people or the
The
clients
right
or?
people. So if what do you think is more important? Do you think it's more important to have really great systems and models, or is it more important to have really great people?
Well, it's a different answer for different people. At the beginning, an agent that is doing, 40 deals a year or less, systems is more important. Okay. An agent could do 40 deals a year, give or take, pretty much by themselves with a transaction coordinator that they can pay as they go. That's about 10 transactions per quarter. That's probably, if we do 50-50, that means you're closing 5 listings and 5 sales per quarter. You're probably taking, depending on your market, 8 listings to close 5, and you're probably taking on something similar buyer-wise, 7 or 8 buyers to close 5. In some markets, you don't even need more than the 5. It's not very busy to do 40. Okay, and 40 for most agents across the country will give them a very, very, very handsome income.
Right.
You have an $8,000 per transaction commission. 40 is $320,000. They pay their cap to Keller Williams and to corporate, depending on where you are in the country. That's 25, 30, 35, $40,000, whatever that is. 320 minus that's your gross income. There's still plenty of money to go around.
Right.
So the answer to most questions, for that question for me, for most agent will be systems, operations. Okay. Post 40 or post team, that for me, you grow when you're post 40, right? But okay, some people might do that a little bit early, but whatever that is, let's say you grow it at 30. Okay, well, at 30, then you can afford it. All right, at that level, then the people you hire become more important. And that assumes that the people you hire are going to follow the system that's already established.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because that's why for me, it was like, you really want to hire the best talent you possibly can, but you also want to have really great systems in that you can hire to your systems instead of hiring the people and then developing systems around them.
Yeah, no, right. You if you're going to hire me, you need to tell me what I'm going to do for you, right? I'm not your entrepreneur. I'm your, for not using another word, I'm your employee.
Right.
Right. Even if I'm not your employee for tax purposes, I'm your employee for leadership purposes, right? You're going to guide me. You're going to teach me. You're going to show me. You're going to tell me what to do and when to do it. So if you don't know what that is, well, then how the heck am I going to do it? I'm not the entrepreneur.
Right. And I have an agent that I know in Chico, and this past year, she closed 94 units, okay, with her and a virtual TC assistant.
Oh, yeah.
He only works Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and closed 94 units.
Nice.
So
nice.
When people tell me that it's not possible, it's because of like exactly what we're talking about: thinking big, aiming high, acting bold, and living large, right? And I asked her, I said, how do you do that? And she said, I am 125% dedicated to only doing the things that are going to get me the results I want.
Right.
And it's
good for her. Wow.
Yeah, it's tremendous when you have somebody that you can see that has that built in and it is able to get the results that they want. And she actually owns her time, doesn't allow other people. She's not working for them. She has her time and she's there with them. And she's pretty awesome. So what are some of the things that are working really well for you right now?
I'm really enjoying the fact that we get to see people this way through video. I'm enjoying the classes and the meetings that we're doing through video. I miss the physical aspect of, fist bumping and all of that at the office. And yet I love that we have been by force shown a new way of communication.
I agree.
And I say by force because, my mother would have never taken it upon herself to start attending church via Zoom on Sundays and learn all of the technology that she learned had it not been by force.
Totally.
So I embrace it. I love it. And I think that when we go get out of this or post this, it's going to be a hybrid. I don't think we're going back. I think school, I think church, I think business will all be some type of hybrid with different methods of communication. I'm enjoying that. And I think this technology will continue.
It's going to add so much value. The other thing that it's going to do is it's going to also add in a ton of efficiency. And efficiency means more money saved.
Absolutely.
Which, I just think it's going to streamline so many different things. And even those virtual open houses and all the virtual things, I mean, it's just an added piece of value if we were able to do open houses again.
Yeah, do both. I mean, right. I'm going back to doing real estate classes. We'll do them in the classroom, but there's no way we're going to not be virtual at the same time when we do. I mean, the technology is there, the ease is there, and the audience, now you could capture both folks. So I love it. I embrace it. I think it's great. And I think we're going to see a lot more technology take place this way moving forward. It probably would have happened anyway, but this space created it to happen quicker. I think it's great.
Yeah, and it's really showed a lot of people how they can do things a lot more efficiently. It's crazy. So what are some of the things that aren't going very well in your world right now?
I think that the mindset around some agents that get caught up in the negativity, that get caught up in the news, that get caught up in the media, get caught up in TV, I think that has affected more than I would like to see, more than my preference, right? Mm-hmm. We're individuals that are constantly being conditioned, and I think we need to watch what we allow to condition us. If I get caught up in everything that's going wrong, my mindset's going to follow.
Right.
Earl Nightingale said, "You become what you think about."
Right.
So totally. if I allow my eyes and my mind to be exposed to what is going wrong, well, then I'm almost going to be looking for it, because it's going to foster a belief that everything is going wrong. It's going to foster in me a belief that the glasses I put on, that's going to help me look for what's wrong. And that's not the type of person I am. You and I are not like that. We're not that type of people. Yeah. Right. I take those glasses off on purpose. I don't look for what's wrong. Right. I'm not a detective by trade looking at murder investigations. That's not the job choice that I have. I have no need to look up everything that's wrong as if it's some type of prize when I find it.
Right. It's so funny because, like, you're the average of the top 5 people you hang out with most, and one of them CNN or Fox. That's probably not a good thing.
Yeah, no, I look for evidence that's going to help me and my family, my kids, why, my reason, the purpose, achieve to where I go. Now, it's not that I'm some ostrich overlooking the things. There's news obviously that comes out, and some of it is cringeworthy, if you will. Yet, for me, I protect that mindset. I protect what I'm exposed to. And even after so many years of working out this way, right? Mm-hmm. If this is a mental workout, so many years of masterminding, audiobooks, paper books, journaling, videos, classes. I mean, I'm a junkie for this. If this was concerts, I'd be in the Hall of Fame of concerts attended. Even after all of that and that mental muscle being built, I still have to watch that mindset, because it can so quickly go to the negative. And
so a master mind gardener still gets weeds every once in a while?
Mastermind gardener, I would venture to say, absolutely gets weeds. And if allowed, they will grow. If allowed, they will grow. Absolutely.
Hey, Jason, I want to let you know something, okay? Not only are you a great real estate coach and a great real estate person, you honestly are one of the nicest, most sincere, generous people that I know. And I'm so grateful to have you in my world. And I just really do appreciate you coming on and spending your time with us and everything. And I'm going to respect your time. And I just wanted to let you know, anything you ever need from me, I'm always here. How can people get a hold of you if they want to be in relation with you?
I appreciate that, Joe. Thank you for the kind words, and the feeling is mutual. And I will be up to see you for sure. I'm going to take you up on that invitation. So
Yep.
maybe we'll get to even meet some of the agents when we're up there.
Cool.
I'll give you my cell, 909 area code 909-935-5888. 909-935-5888. I do coach agents pretty much on a referral basis only. I have a small group of about 25 agents that I work with on a one-on-one basis. And so if anybody's looking for information, certainly they can reach out. And if they just have a question or comment or want to be cool, find me on Facebook. I'm out there. And yeah, I look to be that reflection, right? The reflection that I look for in others, which is a person that helps, which is a person that is authentic, which stays real to who I am. And you're identifying that in our friendship. I absolutely appreciate.
Well, everything you said right there is true about you, and everything I said is true. I mean, honestly, the bold that I took with you, I still to this day say changed the direction of my life, and I owe you a big part of where I am right now.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Joe. I appreciate the friendship, and I appreciate more years to come of good quality, stimulating conversations. Real
Okay, let's
estate
get you to
and
Utah.
plus. Let's schedule it out.
All right, man.
Let's
Sounds
text
good.
each other after this, and we'll do it. Hey, God bless. Be safe. Say hi to your beautiful wife.
I will.
And I will see you when I see you, hopefully sooner than later.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right, man. Take
Okay,
care.
man. Bye.
Bye-bye.